Homelessness is an issue that's currently being addressed in the city of Santa Barbara. SB Act and other homelessness services are working in collaboration with city officials, residents, and business leaders to achieve a common goal: getting individuals off the street and into long-term housing.
As we prioritize homelessness as a crisis now, it's really helpful for us to have that level of focus and spotlight on it. And it's allowing people to be more motivated and more steadfast in their engagement. But again, we're still dealing with the complexity of the system.
So we do have our PLHA funding that's coming up, and that stands for Permanent Local Housing Allocation. And that is a new source of funding that the city has obtained.
The Permanent Local Housing Allocation Fund was granted to the city by the California Department of Housing and Community Development to support eligible housing and homelessness activities. To receive the grant, the city came up with a 5-year plan, and part of the 5-year plan was to contract with CityNet, a nonprofit outreach service provider that provides street outreach to homeless individuals.
The goal of our organization is to end street-level homelessness. No one should have to sleep out on the streets at night, and so our goal is to come out and meet with individuals where they're at, connect them to supportive services, and the ultimate goal of permanent housing.
The count was about 900 total. There's a percentage that's chronic, meaning they've been out here for a year plus. But you also have a family population, a youth population. You've got survivors of human trafficking that make up the population. So it's not a one-size-fits-all. And your solutions kind of have to reflect that as well.
Each outreach provider adjusts their approach and targets it towards a specific client's experience.
A lot of times, because of their traumatic events in their lives, it really takes time to establish a trusting relationship to where our case managers from CityNet can help. Some homeless don't seem very accepting of services, but it's usually because they just don't trust from what had happened previously in their lives. And so that event does really take a toll on trying to help and assist them with case management services that they need.
And Courtney is a perfect success story of what outreach and the PLHA can do for someone struggling with homelessness.
In April, the county took us in, and we were the first ones before they started what was called the Room Key Project. We started out in the Orange Tree Hotel for a month. Then for May, we went to the Lemon Tree. And then by June, we were in with all the other people who were in the Room Key Project. That's when we started working with the housing people from the county. I was already on all the housing lists and everything, so they just had to update all of my information. And I went for my first interview to the Riviera Hotel, and I just liked the one room that they showed me that was open. And once they finished everything, getting me a grant that follows me wherever I go, it was just a blessing in disguise, and had everything I needed by the last week of August to move in. But I started paying my rent as of the beginning of September, and I have faithfully ever since. And they're wonderful people there, and it's a wonderful place.
Working with CityNet and providing outreach to individuals on the street isn't the only component to getting individuals into long-term housing. The PLHA also funds additional staff resources to help keep people in their homes in the first place.
We are going to hire a new full-time rental housing mediation program specialist in order to assist us further in trying to help tenant and landlord issues so as to retain housing for them so that they don't fall into homelessness as well. So that's considered homelessness prevention.
Overall, SB Act, CityNet, city leaders, and others impacted by the issue of homelessness continue to work hard to get individuals experiencing homelessness into long-term housing, and each small step along the way makes the process worth it.
The city has also went into partnership with the Housing Authority and insisted on acquisition of property at 110-116 East Coda Street. The Housing Authority is in process of applying to the state for low-income housing tax credits to develop 28 studio units for homeless housing. So that will be very pertinent to our efforts of trying to get people off the streets and permanently housed.